Wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So before we get into your good work, I want to know 5 years ago, we were headlong into the pandemic, trying to figure it out. So many things were changing. Ultimately, living through that time period, how much of getting through that has reverberated into your life and what you do today?
Wow, that's huge. So the pandemic, my book came out, Let's Get Visible, came out at January 2020.
Wow.
And I had my I had my book launch in February 2020. And there were quite a few of my friends couldn't make it because they had a bit of a cough and weren't feeling very well.
Yeah.
And it was like the last social event that most people had gone to before, like a couple of weeks later, we went into lockdown
Yeah.
in the UK. And so just the title of the book's Let's Get Visible, and then everyone was hidden. Everyone just went. And it impacted my work because I'd been booked to speak on quite a few stages and podcasts around the book launch. And the book had ended up winning a Global Business Book Award for Startup Inspiration. It'd gone to number one in four different categories. The book was doing really well. And so I was getting all these opportunities to speak, but then they all went online, which kind of scuppered my speaker journey a little, as well as then I was homeschooling my children, homeschooling two kids, and living with a husband who decided to turn vegan 5 months previously, which really wasn't fun. So I had a vegan son, a vegan husband, a vegetarian son, and a carnivore son, and I was losing my mind
Oh
cooking
no.
15 billion different dishes across the day. So anyway,
Yeah.
so that impacted my work, but my business took off because the book did really well. And suddenly I was getting loads of clients from all over the world, including the States and Canada and Dubai and Australia. And so it was great. I mean, I my business went online like a lot of people's did, and that has stayed that way to this day, because it's just become a lot more convenient. Until then, I do this thing where I rebrand businesses in a day. I'm a brand consultant, and my methodology, the vision process in the book, gives you 6 steps on how to build your brand. And it works so well that I can rebrand a business in a day. So I used to have people fly down from all parts of the UK to come and do this day with me in person. And I didn't believe I could do it online, but I do now. So
That's wonderful. So, along with that, if I was to boil down exactly what you do on a daily basis, if I put you in front of a bunch of sixth graders at career day and one of the kids said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer to them?
I make businesses look good so that people want to work with them. I think something like that. Like I draw pretty pictures. I draw logos and things like that, but I create brands. I create something for the business people want to align themselves to that. Align's too big a word for a 6-year-old, I know, but
Well, some of them are savvy. I mean, there is a savvy nature. So let me ask you this: when you were in the sixth grade, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream life?
it's sixth grade. What age is that?
About 12, 13.
Oh, right. Oh, they will know the word align. I was thinking age 6. Sorry. Yeah. What did I want to do?
Yeah, with your
I'd,
life.
I'd, I'd always wanted to be a designer, actually. I wanted to be a graphic designer. I did toy with being a vet as well.
Yeah,
My parents are both doctors, and my brother did end up going to be a vet. But when I realized that you'd have to put things down, I wasn't too cool with like killing animals,
yeah.
albeit, for medical reasons. So I figured that design was the way forward. That or something in the music industry. And I did
Okay.
end up working in the music industry. I ended up working in radio for quite a while. So I kind of ticked that off my list as well.
Okay. What was your first live concert that blew you away, that made a profound impact on you?
Now the first concert and the one that made the most profound impact are two very different
Okay.
things.
Let's delve into them.
Which one's which? But which one
Both.
do I go
Let's
first?
do the first and then let's do the major one.
Right. I think the first one is probably someone you've never heard of. It was a band called King, who was sort of slightly punky,
Okay.
slightly they wore like Doc Martens and then it was like Howard Jones. And then I think I watched Aha. Aha were like probably my third, the Norwegian band with
Yeah.
Morten Hart, the lead singer,
Yeah.
who I thought I was going to marry. And then I was a massive Duran Duran fan.
Yeah.
So I've seen Duran Duran about 6 times live over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were kind of like 80s bands. I've just carbon dated myself, I realized.
Yeah. I get it. I'm in the same boat.
Right. And then the one that made the most profound impact on me, wow, so many, so many. I mean, I'm a big gig goer. Um I love gigs. Oh God, there's too many. I have to say one of the more recent ones, because it was a real bucket list artist, was Madonna.
Wow. That would be cool
Because I've
to
never
see
seen
that.
Madonna. I've seen Prince twice though, and I'm really proud of that because obviously
Yeah.
there's a chance for anyone to go and see him now. Um, and so I was a bit like wow, I at least I got to see him. I saw him in the 80s and I saw him in the 2000s. Um, so that was pretty cool. The person that I regret never seeing live was David Bowie.
Yeah, Bowie. Yeah, he was so cool. Yeah, my wife's a huge Prince fan and she caught him live. And she sent me something the other day and he was a basketball player. He was like an all-star basketball player in high school.
Seriously, he was tiny.
Yeah, I know. He had to just, that's why he moved so well on stage. If you're tiny, you got to have good moves, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you got to get around the big dudes. So that's how he did it. But he just, thankfully, he decided that music was the avenue, you know?
Oh, aren't we pleased for that?
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. That's
It's crazy.
incredible.
So speaking of building blocks, take me back to your childhood. What gave you these foundational seeds that grew into who you are? Design, entrepreneurship, being an author. What happened? How did you get to this point?
Literally nothing to do with my upbringing.
Okay.
I've actually just done a talk. I delivered a talk last Thursday, and I'm not going to go through the whole talk, but the story is like me being a little girl coming to England age 2 with my parents who were both doctors. And they were newly qualified doctors. They wanted to work for the wonderful NHS in the UK. It was obviously free healthcare for everyone that we've got. Um, and I kind of, I sort of say I had brown skin and black hair and went to a very white school in the north of England. And I stood out, and everybody else, looked the same. And I wanted to look like them. I wanted to have freckles, and I wanted to join in on chats about fake tan and sunning and stuff like that. But I didn't. And so I kind of tell this story and about how like a little boy shouted racist abuse at me. He shouted the word chocolate, but it was the way he shouted it. And when you get called out when you're 9 years old in the
Yeah.
playground, that was just mortifying, right? So I kind of tell that story. And so I spent like my younger years always wanting to hide away, to blend in, to not draw attention to myself. I drew. I've been drawing since I was 2.
Yeah.
And I realized also I was like a real people pleaser. And I realized when I drew, it made people happy. Like, so if I drew a picture for someone and I gave it to a grown up, like they were happy because I was very good at drawing. So I just developed that really. And I was kind of quite a quiet, shy little girl. And then when I, started my career, I obviously announced I wanted to go to art college. Being like that South Asian background, is very academic. Like my dad used to say, you have to work twice as hard to have half a chance in this country. So I was very strong work ethic, got all my grades, was really academic, and then disappointed my parents by saying I wanted to go to art college. Because really, back in those days, certainly it was the 80s, like it was the thick people that went to art college. It was the people that were never going to be able to be doctors or solicitors or
Yeah.
even lawyers or anything like that. You shove them into art college. Um, and that was my form teacher actually said I was too bright to go, but I did it anyway. And then I, kind of still struggled with standing out because I look so different. There's not many people who look like me in the creative industries. Then I came down to London and there was just so much more diversity in London that I actually ended up falling into media. So I worked in radio. I didn't actually do anything to do with design for a long time. I worked in media, advertising, sales. So I kind of got to understand brand from a much bigger perspective. I've
Yeah.
worked at design agencies as well. So I have the design skills, but I understand brand from a very 360 perspective. And that is what helped me. Once I'd had my 2 kids, I ended up starting my business by accident, really. I'd done my husband's branding um, for his company, and it got held up in a room full of entrepreneurs as the gold standard. And my husband came home with 7 business cards that day. So I kind of started the business by accident. I was studying to be an interior designer,
Okay.
retraining, because that's a passion of mine. And then I just thought, oh, hang on a minute, there's an opportunity here. And I could start an interior design studio with like 0 clients, or I could do this with my design skills, my marketing, my advertising, copywriting, all of that. And I could help entrepreneurs to grow their brands and grow their businesses. So that's kind of where that started. Long story, but there.
No, that's great. I'm glad you hit all the points. Who's been your inspiration on this journey into having your own business and excelling in design?
The inspiration for my business was probably my husband and my children, because that was something that gave me freedom and flexibility to be around for them. And to be a present mum, like to not have to tear my hair out by running back with the school run and the stress and everything. I've always been there, and I can dial it up or dial it down according to family needs. What was the other thing? Who inspired my creativity?
Oh, I guess just in general, just an inspiration for you. Yeah.
Um,
Or a hero.
no one in my actual life, because I was a bit of an outlier. My parents were medics, and my brother was a medic, and we've got lots of lawyers and medical people in my family, and teachers, sorry, and medical people. So lots of public sector workers. I was a bit of an outlier. Um, but professionally, I mean, anyone from Andy Warhol to Philippe Stark, from a designer point of view, like the pop artists, I love that. Um, Bridget Riley, who's like a famous pop artist as well. She actually inspired my book jacket. And I love going to art galleries. I
Yeah.
love like art and design in all its forms. I mean, I found inspiration at the latest Barbie exhibition at the Design Museum lately. So I love going to art galleries and being inspired by art.
I got stuck. I went over to Europe in on 9/11 and I got stuck in the back of a water
Wow.
taxi in Venice. So I originally had a flight that was supposed to go from Paris back to Kansas City. That's where I'm at in the States. And it didn't exist anymore. So I had to find my way to London and I'd never been there and it was unexpected. And I believe I went to the Tate. There was some museums that I really went through that were pretty cool at that time. But it was so great. The everybody was so nice and like just trying to figure out what was going on, what was this whole thing between Bin Laden and America. But I do remember the Tate, and I remember just how culturally rich and how wonderful it was being over there. Yeah,
London is great for that. It's part of the reason that I love living in London is like we get all the great art exhibitions, we get
yeah,
all the great gigs, all the great like music, art, anything cultural, plays.
yeah,
I went and saw Christian Slater in Glengarry Glen Ross. Even like the big Hollywood stars will come
yeah,
over and you get to see them. And it's expensive to live in London, but I love it. I
yeah,
love it. I love the fact that my kids are growing up in such a multicultural,
yeah,
thinking back to how I grew up in somewhere that was very, very white. I love the fact that they don't stand out here. They can, stand out if they want to, but they
yeah,
can just be part of community.
absolutely. So if you can meet one person alive that's an entrepreneur, a designer, an artist that you're fascinated by, who would that be? Who would you love to meet?
Hmm. I mean, the first person that just came into my head was Philippe Stark, because I just think he's amazing. He's like such like the amount of different things he does. He's like an architect, but he'll design a toothbrush and he'll design a hotel. It doesn't matter. Like it's just about design, and it's design that is actually really beautiful and that makes you smile. Like that he brings joy, and there's a playfulness to his work
Yeah.
that I really, really love as well. So yeah, probably
So,
Philippe.
I'm a visual artist myself. This is one of my,
Yeah, was this yours? The art
yeah,
behind you?
yeah.
You did that. I was going to ask you about that
Yeah.
actually.
So
Very
I've
good.
been doing this for a long time, and I always think in the back of my head, I don't want to get stuck in something. I always want to keep moving forward, evolve, come up with new ideas, and it could be the next thing, and then it runs its course. So I'm curious with you, as a designer, as somebody that's looking to stay current and just to evolve as a human being, what is your kind of methodology or philosophy of doing that?
Do you know what? I was discussing this with my 12-year-old the other day, because he's always been very like didn't want to try new things, and like quite a scaredy cat really was. My elder son's kind of quite brave and will try anything new. And all of a sudden Leon has started to do the same thing, and he's like, "Oh, I think we'll go and do this." And I do want to go and do a zip wire, and I do want to go and it's like, "Whoa, we quite like this new adventurous Leon." And I was saying to him, I went through a phase and I must do it again. I've kind of forgotten to do that, but just like trying to learn something new every 3 months, like just like what new do I want to do that's, and in terms of like variety in my career, like I've been doing all the brand work, I had a break for a couple of years from my business because of cancer. And so I came back last year. And people were sort of saying, look, I don't need a rebrand. But I need help with my personal brand. So can you help me with that? Help me with build my personal brand. So now I've got an extra arm to my business, which is where I'm taking a bunch of female entrepreneurs. I work with men as well, but it just happened to be that 8 women wanted help with their personal brands. So I'm taking them through a program which I've developed myself using my same methodology, vision methodology, to get people visible and clarify their message. And I've just started a new networking group as well
Yeah.
last week, called the Not Workers. And it's like networking, but not really.
Yeah.
It's like fun experiences. It's not like going into a room and doing a 60-second pitch and
Uh-huh.
what do you do? And it's actually we're kicking off with a karaoke night.
Very
So
cool.
very cool.
So that's a perfect lead into my next question. Let's
Right.
say you walk into a room of clients that have known you throughout all these years, and you can walk up to a podium and tell them one fun thing, one fun story about you that would humanize you and cast you in a different light. What story would you tell them?
Oh my goodness. You want a story or just a fact?
Just a fact. It could be an anecdote. It could be just something fun about you.
I mean, I absolutely love karaoke, so I will get up and belt out a number like that. That is fun.
Yeah.
Um, Another fact is I volunteered in Argentina for 3 months. It's less fun, but it was certainly I quit my job and went and taught English as a foreign language to
Yeah.
Los Niños in Argentina. So that was great fun. That
Yeah.
was an adventure.
That's cool. That's cool. So let me ask you this. Of all of these things that you've done and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Oh, it's going to sound lame, but my children.
Sure. That's not.
I
No,
think
not at
they're
all.
decent human beings. I'm really proud. I know people love their children and blah blah blah, but there are some kids that are actually a pain in the asses. It's not like I love all children, and but
Right.
I actually think my kids are actually decent human beings. I
Yeah.
think it was my duty as a parent to raise kids who weren't knobs,
Yeah.
and I think I've done that so
Yeah.
far. There's still a chance for them to turn into knobs, but I'll keep them on the straight and narrow.
That's right. That's right.
People are always saying to me what lovely manners they've got and how kind they are. And I think that's what makes me really proud.
Yeah.
It's not even to do with their academic achievement, it's to do with what decent human beings they are.
So, of all of the designs that you've done in your life, what's one that rises to the top? Maybe it was difficult, you didn't know where it was going, but it turned out to be one of the more stellar designs that you've done.
Oh, wow. It's really hard to pick one. Um, my clients, because of my methodology as well, my clients end up absolutely loving their brands.
Yeah.
They really buy into it because it I draw all the information out of them. It's really collaborative process. But one that just sticks to mind again right now because I'm dealing with him at the moment is a friend of mine who's a business coach, Robin Waite, and I created his brand Fearless. His business is called Fearless Business,
Yeah.
and he absolutely freaking loves that brand. He so much he wears it on his t-shirt. He's got a load of Fearless t-shirts.
Yeah.
He has it in neon behind him in his Zoom room, so he's created a neon sign in it.
Yeah.
He loves this. I've got another client, Mark Bowden, who has created a stamp for his logo, which he loves so much. He's sponsored his local football team, so it's all over their kits, and he's actually imprinted it in his. You got these plunge barrels in your back garden,
Yeah.
like ice baths.
Yeah.
He's had it burned into the wooden lid on his ice bath. He loves it that much.
That's
So
cool.
my clients get very passionate. The thing that I've kicked myself in the foot or shot myself in the foot about is that I create brands that my clients love so much, they don't come back to me for a rebrand anytime soon. So repeat business is a bit shit. Because I set them up for success for so long and
Yeah.
they absolutely love their brand. But,
I mean, there is a saying that it's good when you can put yourself out of business because it's not like you're not getting the business, but if you do so well, they don't need it anymore. You've done your work.
that's true. I've not heard that one, but yeah.
Seems like it could work. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that works with you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a decent human being. I'm fun, I'm honest, I'm loyal, I'm fun to work with. Like my clients absolutely freaking love what I do for them. And I make it easy. I make it seem easy to work with me and to get the results that we do. So and I'm results focused as well. I'm pretty driven that way. But always up for a laugh, always up for a bit karaoke and doing something fun and adventurous. My alter ego is the yes girl. So a lot of my friends know me as the yes girl because if they have something that they want to do and they need like a plus one, they know if they call me, I'm most likely to go, yeah, let's do it, no
You're
matter
in.
how crazy.
Yeah,
So I've got
that's
a sense of adventure.
yeah, absolutely. So if anyone wants to pick up your book, they want to reach out, they want to hire you, any of the good business, where do they go?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Sapna Pieroux on LinkedIn. Let's Get Visible, the book is on Amazon. But Joe, as a gift to your listeners, if your listeners connect with me on LinkedIn and say that they heard about me on your show, I will send them a free PDF copy of the book.
Okay, excellent. And I will push that. I will make sure to push that in the show notes. This has been wonderful. So great to meet you. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun getting to know you.
Yes, thank you. Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.